Wellbeing Scrutiny Committee on the 6th of July 2023. I am Councillor Dan Thomas and I will be chairing this meeting. Just to make everyone aware, this meeting will be recorded. Please can you ensure that your phones are switched to silent for the duration of the meeting and that your microphones are muted when not speaking. If members wish to speak or ask a question, please could you raise your electronic hands or physical hand if you're in the chamber. Also, for those in the chamber, please use your microphone when speaking. For the purpose of the next agenda item, which is declarations of interest, I can confirm we have chosen to scrutinise Cabinet Board agenda items 7 and 9. Are there any declarations of interest from members today based on the items we have chosen to scrutinise? If yes, Pamela will forward an electronic version of the form for you to complete and email back to her. Agenda item 3, pre-decision scrutiny. We will now move to the Cabinet Board agenda for pre-decision scrutiny. The Scrutiny Committee members have decided to scrutinise items 7 and 9 on the Cabinet Board agenda. Item 7, Employability Hub in Aberavon Shopping Centre. This report is here for decision and is on pages 11 to 22 of the Cabinet Board papers. Officers, would you like to add anything additional to the report?
Oh, thank you, Chair. The recommendation is to seek approval to extend the lease of the Opportunity Hub for a further 12 months. The recommendation is made to members to approve the lease extension in order to provide local employability and wellbeing support for the community of the Port Talbot. And I invite Angeline or Kerry to give you a little overview of it, the background as it's for decision, Chair.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Chair Kerry is going to just give us a little overview. She's a bit closer to it than myself.
Thank you all. As you know, you've received all the papers. So just to give you a bit of background context for it, the Opportunity Hub has been open for about 6 months now. It's been fully refurbished and funded from Welsh Government monies. The aim of the hub, along with partners, is about getting people back into work. So we offer a designated training area where we provide training courses. We've run sector-specific recruitment fairs and provide that informal walk-in for people to just pop in and update their CV. To date, we've had 282 residents who were looking for that help and support. The centre is also designated as a warm hub. So as Chris Millis said earlier, we are looking today for approval to extend that lease for 1 year. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Councillor Robert Wood.
I'd just like to support the recommendation on this because I think it's a brilliant hub that we've got there in the town centre. It gets that the council are reaching out into the community where the people are. I was there Saturday. It was absolutely packed out. The people loved it there, you know, with the Pride, what was going on with Pride and everything as well. I think it's a perfect opportunity for us to maintain a presence where the people are in the town centre. And that's why I'll be supporting the recommendation. Thanks.
Thanks for that. Are there any other questions from members? No? Okay. I'd just like to thank officers and staff working in the hub for making it such a success. The only question I did have, are there any plans to open one in Neath that could serve Neath in the Swansea Valley?
Yes, I can pick that up. We're currently looking at Neath Library and Pontardawe Library as well. So there's 2 venues that we're looking at to replicate what we're doing in Port Talbot.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. The recommendations are listed on page 15 of the Cabinet Board agenda pack. Can I please have a proposer and a seconder?
I move, Chair.
Happy to second, Chair.
Can members please indicate if they wish to abstain?
I can see no abstentions, Chair.
Members, if you do not indicate to the contrary, then I will take it that this recommendation is supported the Cabinet Board.
Chair, I can see no indication to the contrary, so this recommendation is supported Cabinet Board.
Moving on to item 9, quarter 4 performance indicators. pages 29 to 44 of the Cabinet Board papers. Officers, would you like to add anything additional to the report?
No, thank you, Chair, but happy to take any questions.
Members have any questions? Councillor Robert Wood.
Thanks, Chair. On the absentee one, I know, as I say, being a governor of a school, that there is, significant problems with absenteeism caused through COVID and things like that. But I think it's more of a national problem than a county borough-wide problem. Obviously, as time goes on, we want to see, the numbers improve. But for the time being, I think it's a case of we are going to have to play catch up and see what the outcomes are going down the line, and whether or not we've got to lobby Welsh Government, perhaps, especially with the examinations, because of the amount of school that has been missed. It's still going to take a while I would say, from year 5, 6 in the primary phase for it to completely wind itself out of the system. Thanks.
Thanks for that. Any other questions? Councillor Peter Rees.
Thank you, Chair. I was at a meeting with Chris Millis and the director and John Burge on Monday this week. I just wondered if Chris would like to tell the committee what the plans of the Welsh Government are on absence, and also when children are excluded from school, and the proposer, or at least I don't know if they are proposers at the moment, but the idea is to set up a Welsh committee on those children who have been excluded from schools.
Yeah, I'm happy to cover that, Chair.
Yeah, if you're happy to cover it.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It is obviously it's in line with attendance, if you like. If you put them side by side, we have got a high level of exclusions as well. So when a child is excluded, it adds to the attendance issue because they're not in school. So 677 pupils have been excluded this year. So don't confuse that with permanent exclusion. So 670 young people have been excluded. So that means in total, they've missed approximately 3,200 days of learning. All of that adds to the attendance issue. All of our schools are working as hard as they can to either bring children back into school, but we also have to support the family. It isn't just down to the school to do this. There are a lot of issues with family-based activity, which is stopping the child from attending. So we have to work alongside the family. When a child has been permanently excluded, as Peter alluded to, there is talk and consultation of whether there's going to be a panel formed, an all-Wales panel with experts, to show that there could be then the discussion about whether that child returns to school on a permanent exclusion. So not on the first permanent exclusion, but possibly the second. And that's still in the pipeline and consultation. I met with Nash, the secondary heads, this morning and told them to look at the consultation. It's being looked at. The independent panel themselves, there's pros and cons with that. It becomes an independent all-Wales appropriateness, but I also think it puts immense pressure on our current governing bodies, who are volunteers, if you like, to be accountable to this. I can bring more information on it as soon as we know more, but Peter is right to raise it. Exclusions and attendance can go hand in hand, and young people at the moment, if we look at those that have been excluded 3 or 4 times, we've got 277 young people that have been excluded 3 or 4 times. Our plan is in September to go into our schools as teams of officers in the 8 secondary schools, meet with at least 10 children from every school and find out why, what's going on in their lives, how can we help them more, how we can support them more. I went to Nash today, they're all on board with it. It's more difficult to ask a member of staff to ask those questions because the issue could be at school and the child may not want to explain that to a member of staff. That's why we're offering officers to go in, highly skilled and trained officers, educational psychologists, school-based counsellors, educational welfare officers, to go in, work with the child and find out what we can do better, what we can do differently, what we can do to help them. And the children that we're going to look at will also have an 80% attendance or less. We'll ask a series of questions to try and make the child as comfortable as possible, the pupil, so they answer us in an honest way, so we can learn from it. So when we get that information, again, it'll come back to this committee. As it stands at the moment, when we're looking at attendance, there's a huge amount of work going on behind the scenes to improve attendance, and we're battling with many aspects. There will not be one size fits all, and there's not one answer to this, Chair. It's going to take, I think, a generation to fix this, of time, and not just a couple of year groups to move through. Our current year 9s missed their end of year 6. They missed that movement of the oldest children into year 7. So we're dealing with those. Our current year 9s are probably the worst, if you like, on attendance and exclusions. And we're doing the best we can as they face a very difficult time in their life of exams. And until those exams change, which hasn't happened yet, and the rollout of the curriculum for Wales and the ANN reform and our struggle to recruit high quality staff, all of those together, working with health and social services, all of these assets, if you like, the family that sits behind the child needs the help, not just the child. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that detailed response, Chris.
Chair, can I come back on one point for Chris?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for that. And I heard you on Monday explaining the situation. What concerns me is that I think, and you alluded to it in your answer, is the responsibilities on governing bodies. And I think that the fact that they're going to set up this all Wales panel, if you like, and the allusion, or it was alluded to that because governors are close to their heads, that those decisions of permanent exclusion may not be valid and may stand up. And therefore, governors or chairs of governors, vice chairs of governors will be called to this panel to substantiate the reasons why. And I think, as you say, governors are volunteers, and I think that is an onerous responsibility on chairs and vice chairs of governors to be able to be questioned on why such a child has been excluded. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Councillor Rees. Can I bring in Cabinet Member for Education, Councillor Neath Jenkins, please?
Thank you, Chair. Just to say, yes, I was also at the meeting and it is a very important issue, but I would caution, could we keep this until we actually discuss it at our Education Scrutiny Board, which isn't the topic that we're discussing now? Thank you.
Thanks for that. This report is information, therefore we noted the report. The pre-decision of public items is complete. We will now move back to scrutiny agenda. Agenda item 4, Forward Work Programme 2023 to 2024. This item is just for noting unless members have any comments. Agenda item 5, urgent items. I have none, and that closes today's meeting. Thanks, members, for attending.